The Galactic Defense Initiative's training facility orbited the gas giant Kepler 442b, a pristine construction of titanium and reinforced polymers designed to forge the galaxy's finest warriors. Within its sterile corridors, recruits from 17 different species learned the art of interstellar combat. The facility had never stopped operations in its 47 years of existence, not for solar flares, not for diplomatic incidents, not even during the Vraxian border conflict. Until today. Commander Thexral stood in the observation deck, his four eyes blinking in asynchronous confusion as he watched the training grounds below. His second in command, a crystalline silicate named Prism 7, materialized beside him. "Commander, the human is still sitting there," Prism 7 reported, its voice resonating like wind chimes. "I can see that," Thexral replied, his mandibles clicking in agitation. "How long has it been?" 2 hours and 17 minutes. On the training floor, surrounded by dormant combat drones and obstacle courses frozen mid-sequence, human Ellen sat cross-legged on the rubberized ground. Beside her, small and trembling, was cub Rava of the Lupari people, a species of wolf-like beings known throughout the galaxy for their ferocity and pride. Rava was crying. The cub's shoulders shook with each sob, her gray fur matted with sweat and tears. At only 14 solar cycles old, she was the youngest recruit in the facility's history, pushed into service by her pack's desperate need for military honors. She had been failing every simulation for 3 days straight. Ellen had found her curled behind a weapons locker, hyperventilating. "This is unprecedented," muttered Lieutenant Xizd, the manted tactical instructor, his antennae twitching nervously. "Training protocols are absolute. We have 73 other recruits waiting." "I am aware of the protocols, Lieutenant," Thexral said, his tone sharp. But his eyes remained fixed on the scene below. Ellen wasn't speaking. She simply sat, one hand resting gently on Rava's back, moving in slow, rhythmic circles. The human had removed her training jacket and draped it over the cub's shoulders. Every few moments, Rava would try to speak, to apologize, to explain, and each time, Ellen would shake her head gently and continue the circular motion. "The human is compromising our efficiency," Prism 7 observed. "By sitting idle, she delays the training of all recruits. This is illogical." "Perhaps," Thexral said quietly. He had commanded human soldiers before. They were paradoxes wrapped in flesh, simultaneously the most ruthless warriors he'd ever witnessed, and the most inexplicably gentle. He'd seen a human medic run through plasma fire to save a wounded Kigshari soldier, despite their species having never met before. He'd watched human Marines laugh and share rations with enemy prisoners, treating them with bizarre dignity even after brutal combat. The other species called it weakness. The humans called it humanity. "Should we intervene?" asked Lieutenant Xizd. "Force compliance with training schedules?" Thexral's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. He activated the facility-wide communication system. "All instructors, this is Commander Thexral. Training operations are suspended until further notice." The command deck erupted in protests. Prism 7's crystalline structure flashed with agitated colors. "To maintain emotional balance," Thexral continued, speaking over the objections, "all recruits are granted rest period. Instructors will conduct equipment maintenance. That is all." He closed the channel before anyone could argue further. Down on the training floor, Ellen finally spoke. Her voice was too soft for the observation deck's sensors to capture, but Rava's ears perked up. The cub said something in return, her voice cracking. Ellen nodded and said something else. Then, slowly, Rava began to breathe more steadily. Her sobs quieted to sniffles, then to silence. She didn't move away from Ellen's touch. "Emotional balance," Lieutenant Xizd repeated skeptically. "That is not a recognized military parameter." "Perhaps it should be," Thexral replied. "The Lupari are pack creatures. Rava's pack sent her here alone, without support structure, expecting her to succeed through pride and honor alone. It's cruel. It's their culture." Prism 7 countered. And the humans' culture is different. Thexral gestured toward the floor. They have a saying, no one left behind. It doesn't just mean in battle. Tek about agentu. They have mana. 15 minutes later, Rava stood up. Her legs were shaky, but she was standing. Ellen rose beside her, returning her jacket to her shoulders. The cub said something. And the humans smiled. Not the predatory smile humans used in combat, but something softer, warmer. Together, they walked toward the training dummies. Ellen picked up a practice rifle and demonstrated a firing stance. Rava mimicked the position. Ellen adjusted the cub's grip. Her movements patient and precise. They spent the next hour running through basic drills, just the two of them in the massive, empty facility. By the time training officially resumed, Rava had hit 70% of her targets, her highest score yet. Commander Thexral filed his incident report that evening. When asked to explain the training suspension, he wrote, "Human recruit demonstrated tactical assessment of teammate psychological state and implemented appropriate intervention. Facility operations temporarily adjusted to support unit cohesion. Request that emotional balance be added to list of recognized strategic considerations." The request was denied by High Command. They called it inefficient and unmeasurable. But 3 weeks later, when Rava graduated top of her class in close quarters combat and personally requested assignment to Ellen's unit, High Command noted the success without comment. And when that unit became the most decorated squad in the initiative's history, known for never losing a single member across 17 combat deployments, strategists began quietly studying human bonding behaviors. They never called it emotional balance in the official reports. But in the barracks, in a dozen different languages, soldiers began using a new phrase when someone struggled. Find your human. Because the galaxy was learning what Earth had always known. Sometimes, the most strategic thing a warrior can do is sit beside someone who's crying and simply stay.